Okay, so let's be clear. What is the role of government here? We've heard Daryl say it's too focused on improving statutory child protection and not on how to build capacity in parenting, for example. Just staying with you, Matt, what do you see as the ideal role of government in what we're talking about today?
Look, there's not a single role. I think government has an important role in terms of funding research and development. Remember, there are hundreds and hundreds of parenting programs out there being offered to the Australian community that have no evidence whatsoever that they work, other than kind of popularity exit polls from parents who've participated and say, oh, gee, that was good, but not strong scientific evidence. So that's one role. The second is, if you think about the role of governments have taken during COVID and with policy advocacy relating to what it is that they want and need the public to do, we've got to play a fine line between being preached at about what it is that we must do versus creating genuine appetite in the parenting population who will be hungry to do this. Yeah. The whole question of whether you make it compulsory or not compulsory at certain points of transition, for example, it depends on what it is. But the point that I'd make, just in wrapping up there, Madonna, is that I think government has a crucial role in funding services, in providing resources to enable the workforce to be developed. But it also needs to recognise that the parenting world also involves industry partners. And it's not all about just creating government mechanisms or through NGOs to deliver parenting services.
Does anyone else want to offer there about the role of government?
I was just thinking, I'm a New Zealander, I'm a Plunket baby, you know, where I was raised in that holistic kind of, you always saw your maternal child health nurse, which has come through in Victoria, where I've had my kids. It seems to me that is a perfect avenue, that we offer things from that beginning regularly about parenting. In the same way you get a lot of information about vaccinations, about health and well-being, you don't get a lot about parenting. And that seems to be, if we embed these things from the get-go right through schools, through all of our systems, through to being a grandparent, that we need to have those across the system.
Yes.
But that's an important role of government, because government makes decisions around offering these things universally. And I think that also is integral to cultural change, where parenting is actually a really important part of feeding your child, like feeding your child. You know, it's part of the food for kids, as Matt raised at the beginning.
In the crudest sense, the government policy is about how they distribute resources. And obviously the distribution of resources is based on government's perception of what the community wants and needs. So for us to ensure that we get the allocation that's needed to support parenting and to support families, we need to lift the awareness of the entire community who vote around the importance of this issue. And I think, you know, we've talked a lot this morning about directing the work that we do and the evidence that we've got to families and to parents. And we've even opened up the discussion about parenting happens at a community level. But I think we need to be using the evidence that helps us to lift the entire community's tide of awareness around the critical role that parenting plays in children's early development. And to do that, we need to do it in the most salient way. So there's some amazing research that's come out of the Frameworks Institute that's talked about the way we frame our ask to government and the sorts of actions that we should be taking to shift community understanding. I mean, how tired are we of walking past hotels that have on the outside children welcome? When weren't children welcome?
Yeah.
You know, where has our society gone that we need to have signs like that? So this framing research has talked about, if we frame our messages around effective parenting versus framing our message about what's fair and good for children, that we will get more traction when we talk about the outcomes for children and the need for fairness, distributing resources across all children. You know, everybody deserves something, but some deserve a bit more, and particularly because of those needs. And this research found that if we just focus on effective parenting as our only message, obviously that's a critical message, so I'm not suggesting we don't have it, but if it's our only message, it's easy for the community to blame parents. Oh, well, you know, if those parents didn't have blah, and even that language, those parents, No, we are creating and stigmatizing families versus these are the most important things for children. And I know we've talked about, should our focus be on children's well-being or should it be on parenting? We have to talk about how we do it. But if we want to shift the community's understanding, we want to shift government to think about the importance of parenting, we have to talk to them through children.